Certainly going to have some memorable footage there. This is a live look right now of Treasure Beach, Jamaica. This is the eastern eye wall of Hurricane Melissa. We have the sound, and you would imagine it's cutting in and out, but the ferocious winds that we have associated with Hurricane Melissa. I mean, 185 miles an hour. That was the latest advisory from the Hurricane Center. And we're not in the eye yet, but Treasure Beach will probably be within the eye maybe the next half hour or so.
Yeah, we're looking at it right now. The eye itself is about 15 miles away from this area. So the closer you get to the eye before you punch into it, the stronger the wind. So we're probably not at 185 here, but we're definitely closing in on 100. Look at this.
There have been indications, too, that Melissa, while that landfall is going to be happening any moment now, I mean, we're taking a look as that eye wall is moving ashore. It has been. It's been slow to actually move over land. It's essentially been paralleling the coastline just for the past 45 minutes. But no doubt this is the most intense portion, a wild sight to see. Of course, the winds have been ferocious. Tropical storm force winds have been felt throughout the island. Of course, the hurricane force winds just beginning to be felt and will continue to be felt in Treasure Beach. And Bob, this is just the first run at it. In Treasure Beach, if we continue with this overall motion, there's a chance that we'll get the western eye wall eventually. Southern eye wall, however you're looking at it.
And then the wind starts changing direction on you, too.
Yeah.
And that's
right.
what one of the National Hurricane Center's points was. If you're in the eye, don't go outside just because you think it's clear, because on the back side of it, the wind's come screaming around again, just like that, and it'll be coming from the opposite direction. So if you're in the eye, listen, you still need to be hunkered down and safe.
Yeah, no doubt. Total structural loss. That was how the National Hurricane Center described it. So we have structures here. You see power lines. I just wonder if those will be able to sustain the force of winds. This is a live look. We're going to continue to watch it. A couple of other notes, too, to make as we watch it. The hurricane hunters with the Air Force, they were heading into the wall, the eye wall. They encountered heavy turbulence, and they've had to go back to Curacao. It actually happened yesterday with NOAA's P3.
Right.
Their flight had to go back to Lakeland. It's just standard safety procedures. Not that there was damage on the plane, but this storm has been strengthening up until landfall.
Yeah, their quote was, they experienced forces stronger than normal due to turbulence. That was the one that just went through. It's like the 185 mile per hour winds you measured out there in the eye wall. Yeah, I would say you're going to get some bouncing around effect.
And the crazy thing is they fly into all the storms.
I know.
And they have flown in previously into Category 5 hurricanes. But the turbulence is exceptional when you look at how this thing has been able to grow and how the pressure is so remarkably low. 892 millibars. That live shot.
Looking at the picture, look at the wires dancing right there. I mean, the palm trees are just bending pretty quickly right here. Poles are still up, though, at least right there.
Yeah.
You're 15 miles away from the real inner core of the storm itself, the steeper. But once that goes over, which it looks like we'll probably use the picture.
Actually, and we could switch on to my max, and we can oscillate between the two because we've labeled where Treasure Beach is and where the eye wall actually has been trying to move ashore. It's been riding essentially to the north-northwest, making that north-northeast turn, but it's the eastern eye wall that we're seeing with Treasure Beach. The eye itself, though, as we're looking at it from space, remains symmetric, Bob. I mean, we've not seen this eye wall at all get degraded. If anything, Brian had mentioned how it's kind of expanding just a little bit, but, you know, just a couple of miles here.
But the pressure's been falling. I mean, when you showed the pressure at 892 a couple of hours ago, it was the entire newsroom was like, oh, and it's the third strongest, most intense hurricane that we've seen in the Atlantic since we've been keeping records.
It's hard to fathom.
Third strongest.
And if we were to just look at storms from a wind perspective, Brian brought it up, Hurricane Dorian achieved those winds of 185 miles an hour. The pressure wasn't as low, but yeah, it's now in the list of memorable and unforgettable hurricanes. So Treasure Beach, that's where that live cam is.
Right.
We're looking at this from a visible satellite perspective. It almost looks like this thing is drifting north.
Right,
it might continue. It's not great news for Treasure Beach, but when we look at where maybe White House, Jamaica, Savannah, Lamar, some of these smaller fishing villages are going to have to pay close attention to it. I mean, that's
going right where it is.
Agriculture capital of the country.
It's going to go right over them. They're going to get the eye wall. They're going to get the eye itself, and then the backside of the eye wall as it pulls up from the south up to the north. The only saving grace is not that much. It's that the forward progression has picked up speed just a bit.
Yeah.
Remember before yesterday, it was moving at 3 miles per hour. Early this morning, it was moving at about 5 miles per hour. Right now, it's moving to the north-northeast at 9 miles per hour. So it has picked up a little bit of speed, and that's anticipated as we get that trough coming in from the northwest and high-pressure divot. It's going to aim for that little circulation, but you can see what it looks like. Now the hurricane force winds clearly onshore.
Yeah, we've seen the tropical storm force winds, right, island-wide, but there are people, I mean, there are people all over the island, but in Montego Bay, people having to take shelter, those hurricane wind gusts, based on the Air Force reconnaissance that we had, measuring those hurricane wind gusts, which extend some 30 miles from the center, but we get occasional gusts even beyond that. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I can't tell you what the measurement of the winds are here. We just have a camera.
Right.
But you've got the winds that are persistent. That's the thing about a hurricane when you're talking about winds that could reach upwards of 185 miles an hour. Wouldn't be surprised if you see these palm trees go.
And then the amazing part, too, is the National Hurricane Center is saying if you go into the hills and the mountains, you can add 30% more winds to that 185. So now that brings it up to 240.
Yeah, you're right.
That's an incredible amount of wind coming in at the islands. And we were talking to Brian Norcross before. Are the mountainous terrain right here, is it going to disrupt the circulation at all? It will. But it's still going to be a major hurricane once it gets offshore and goes right towards Cuba. Most likely it's Category 4.
Yeah, you're right. And with that fast movement, right, it's not hanging out as long over land, so it's going to emerge back into the Caribbean or just north of Jamaica within the afternoon. Some progress. I mean, we're watching as that eye wall is beginning to move ashore. It's just north of Black River. I'm just captivated by the satellite imagery.
You can put the X marks the spot where that center of the circulation is, because we have to get the center of the eye to go over to call it a landfall. And it's clearly still out there across the middle of the water. Yeah,
it's right here, essentially. That's what we'll be watching for once half of that goes on through. But you pay attention, obviously, to all the details. And one of them with the newest package that we got from the Hurricane Center is the cone, an important element here. It is expected to emerge as a 150-mile-an-hour hurricane in the Caribbean after it moves over Jamaica. That is a little stronger than what it was. Yeah, it was initially 140. So the intensity is still going to be there, but this storm has a long journey still, even when you go into the Bahamas and the elevation's much lower.
By the way, you're looking at Bermuda again. Bermuda, they're right there in smack dab in the middle of that air cone.
Right.
That's for Thursday night and early Friday morning, and it's still going to retain that hurricane force wind structure. You're talking 90 to 100 mile per hour winds when it approaches Bermuda, and it looks like it could be on the dirty side of the storm, too.
I know. I think within every major hurricane, Bermuda's found themselves in a cone this season with each one that we have had. The alerts are, of course, posted. That's for Jamaica into eastern Cuba, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. All morning, we were trying to get access to some cameras, and this was
this one we got.
Yeah, it was a great get. I mean, you look at how those winds are behaving, though, and the fact that we're able to still maintain a stream of this.
I can't take my eyes off it. So this is east of the actual eye wall and stuff. The core of it is right around here and then off to the east by about 15 miles. So it looks like they're not going to get into the eye. You're not going to see a clear sky out of this one as it moves away. But, man, neighbors up to the north, and to the north and to the west, they're going to get the full brunt of the eye wall, the eye, and then the backside of the eye wall. So you picture you're getting smashed by winds going in one direction. It finally loosens up, and everything is loose because it's been going this way. The winds come the exact opposite way, and that's going to just destroy everything on the backside.
You hate to see it, too. And in some cases, as we're watching how the eye of Melissa is getting very close, we might, like in Treasure Beach, not even actually see the calm eye, because that might head just to the north.
Away from them, right?
Yeah, might head just to the north of Treasure Beach. So they're going to be in one of the most intense bands. Look at those.
For a long period of time.
Yeah, those trees. It's crazy. It's in the parish is St. Elizabeth's Parish. We've talked a lot about it this morning.
It's gone down. Look, now you can barely see that.
Yeah, it's a huge agricultural hub. These are fishing communities along the southern shores of Jamaica, and you see the types of winds, as the Hurricane Center has said, total structural loss.
Amazing.
If you're within the core. Well, coverage of Hurricane Melissa's landfall and then the eventual journey into the Bahamas, it's going to continue after the break. Keep it here. We'll be right back.